Namo. Thank you for joining me for a daily practice check-in. Listen, listen, listen. This beautiful sound calls us back to our true home. The second mindfulness training. Aware of the suffering caused by exploitation, social injustice, stealing, and oppression, I vow to cultivate loving kindness and learn ways to work for the well-being of people, animals, plants, and minerals. I will practice generosity by sharing my time, energy, and material resources with those who are in real need. I'm determined not to steal and not to possess anything that should belong to others. I will respect the property of others, but I will prevent others from profiting from human suffering or the suffering of other species on earth. We've started reading Beginning Our Day, Volume 2 by the monastics of Abhayagiri Monastery for our Dharma lessons. Today we're reading The Importance of Kondanya's Insight by Ajahn Amaro. The Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the discourse on the turning of the wheel of the Dharma. The Buddha addressed the 5 samanas, including one named Kondanya, who were his practice companions before he became a Buddha. At the end of his talk, the Buddha recognized that Kondanya had, with deep insight, understood the Dharma. He said, Anasivata bo Kondanya, Anasivata bo Kondanya ti. Kondanya understands. Kondanya understands. Kondanya had awakened to the nature of Dhamma, Dhamma chakum udapadi. The eye of Dharma arose. Then the sutta describes exactly what it was that Kondanya saw. It wasn't a spectacular vision of the heavens opening up, a bewildering light display that he experienced, or streams of deities beaming down from the heavens. Rather, his vision of the Dharma was stated simply in the phrase, whatever is subject to arising is subject to ceasing. On a worldly level, this seems completely unremarkable. That which begins, ends. Whatever goes up must come down. If it's born, it dies. No big deal, we might think. But it's worth our reflection. This seemingly simple insight, which makes all the difference in the life of Kondanya, which enables him to awaken to the Dhamma, enter the stream of the Dharma, and make full enlightenment absolutely certain from that point on. Why should that be the most profound insight? It's helpful to reflect on this and use it as a theme of meditation. Why would it change my life to see all that is subject to arising is subject to ceasing? If that's truly known and understood by me, why should that mean that full enlightenment is inevitable? That in a certain amount of time it will ripen in my complete and total liberation? How can that understanding be so important? We can practice picking up that theme, applying it, and seeing it clearly for ourselves. It's not simply a collection of words that we hear. Oh yeah, all that's subject to arising is subject to ceasing. Yeah, I know all that. We can practice exploring it and applying it moment by moment throughout the day. Why should that be so liberating? Why should that be so significant? Why should that be the change of vision that alters my whole way of life, my whole way of seeing who and what I am? This is for all of us to investigate. When we apply this insight to everything, to what we think, to what we feel, to the pleasant experiences, the painful experiences, the beautiful, the ugly, the emotionally pleasing, the emotionally distressing, it awakens a sense of the nature of experience itself. We begin to see that when we aren't judging life in worldly terms, good, bad, right, wrong, me, you, beautiful, ugly, in here, out there, then we're seeing everything in terms of its nature, rather than its content, or whether we like it or we don't like it, whether we call it in here or out there. We awaken to that intuition within us that everything internal and external, mental and physical, is part of a natural order. It's not self. It's not who or what we are. It's not personal. It's not alien. It's just Dharma. It's nature itself. This understanding undercuts the way we see ourselves as me and here, the world out there. We no longer believe that those perceptions reflect the way things truly are. This insight seems like nothing, doesn't it? Our ego-centered thinking reacts like it's oxygen. Big deal. There's a lot of oxygen about, so what? But when we are denied oxygen, then it quickly becomes apparent how crucial it is. In a similar way, when we apply this insight to how we experience our thoughts, feelings, and perceptions, then it changes the whole way we hold things. We can notice that change within the heart. Oh, right. This is a changing thing. I can call it good or bad. I can call it success or failure, but its primary quality is that it is changing. It came into being, and now it's ending. That's the most important thing about it. We notice that shift in the heart, that shift that happens within us when we apply Kondanya's insight. It changes everything because we're no longer obsessing, fixating on the content of experience. We're becoming aware of the process of experience itself. That's fundamentally what insight, vipassana, is about. Vipassana is insight into the nature of experience itself, that moment of clear seeing when there's a direct awareness of how experience works, what experience is. And the result of that is liberation. At that moment, the heart knows this is merely a pattern of nature, a coming, a going, changing. That's all it is. That's all it can be. Nothing to get excited about, nothing to get alarmed about. Right there is a moment of freedom and seeing clearly that the heart is unburdened. There is an unentangled knowing, at least to some small degree. That liberating quality is right here in the midst of everyday activity, mundane thoughts and feelings. Just like Kondanya, it is possible for us to access this liberating insight right here and right now. May all beings be well. May all beings be happy. May all beings be peaceful. Namo Adida Phat. Thank you again for joining me today.